You want to talk about sexism in politics?
When was this video published? July 23rd, 2017? What? Why? The election is over, Riley. Over.
I sure do. This will be a fun one.
All right.
And here we come to the biggest problem in this video, the frickin' jump cuts. Now, usually Riley averages several sentences before he introduces a jump cut. Some people like it, I personally hate it, and I try to get my voiceovers done in one take at best. I personally hate it, and I try to get my voiceovers done in one take. I personally hate it, and I try to get my voiceovers done in one take as best I can. But this is just a new level of jump cut fuckery.
Radish time.
And we are gonna, but you have a...
In that beautiful battle in my team.
Awesome. I kind of want to get your opinion. I think there's an under, like how do you...
Direct, lines that you can draw to be like, it was,
And this is just the first frickin' minute. Oh boy. Kill me now. Okay, to skip the ad hominems about Riley's editing capabilities, let's see what he and Jump Cut Girl here have to say.
Hey everybody, today I'm here with...
Taylor. It's Radish time.
And we are going to talk about sexism in politics.
Ooh.
Some really not controversial stuff.
Super chill.
You're right. It's not controversial at all. And we will touch upon that in a hot minute.
I kind of want to get your opinion on the things that have happened after the election with people kind of trying to justify why Hillary didn't win. I think there's an argument to be made that sexism was a role in why she didn't win. But I've seen a lot of people saying that it had nothing to do with gender.
No, Riley, it wasn't. It wasn't even close. When you look at the flippin' numbers, Riley, women, particularly white women, voted for Trump in droves, and they were excoriated for it.
I have no respect for women who voted for Trump.
Me too.
I think so poorly of them, and the reason why is because, look, I don't think that you're a single issue voter. I just think you're dumb. Okay? I think you're fucking dumb. You're an idiot. You're an idiot.
Yes.
Okay? You are voting against your best interests.
How do you quantify that? How are we able to say that it was or wasn't her gender that affected her in the race?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there's necessarily direct, lines that you can draw to be like, it was, 20% gender, 30% this, 40% Russians.
God, those freaking jump cuts. Those were meant to make a video shorter, but I'm betting this was done because you couldn't string together a coherent sentence for more than 7 seconds.
But I do think that, it was a factor.
You can't find any correlation. You can't point to anything. But you think this was a factor. Do go on.
I remember telling people during the campaign that, it was amazing to me that Hillary, I firmly believe, was the most qualified presidential candidate in history, was running against somebody with absolutely no experience, who, as we've seen, is just incredibly inflammatory and quick-tempered and short-sighted and really has no idea what he's doing. And that was the choice, and it was as close as it was. I don't believe that had nothing to do with gender. And
Wait. You said you call people, and where's the completion of that thought? Was what those people saying to you so wrong and counter to the narrative? No, you just went on to jabber about her qualification and Trump's lack thereof. It's like listening to nails on chalkboard.
I managed social media properties for the Hillary, so I saw what people would write on Hillary's Facebook.
What did they write? Show us examples.
People would send dick pics to Hillary Clinton's DM.
I hate to say this, but pics or it didn't happen. My DM is open on Twitter. Just saying.
That's not something that happens to every candidate, and, I wonder what the difference is.
Maybe people from your side were sending harassing messages to the Trump campaign. Do you know? Are you assuming? Well, I can tell you that the harassment against Trump was in the open, and it was blatant, and it was done by the mainstream media. Next.
One of the criticisms I've seen often doesn't come from Trump supporters, but comes from Bernie supporters who are he would have been a better candidate, or Hillary is very flawed in these ways. They feel like they can't be sexist, right? Because they're progressive or they're liberal or whatever. How do you respond to those people who don't see themselves as discriminating against women in any way and want women to succeed and just think they don't like Hillary specifically?
Riley, that was a very salient point. People didn't not vote for Hillary because she has a vagina. They chose Trump because she was a terrible candidate. Period.
There's a lot of that I experienced, and nobody wants to stop talking about the primary a year now after it ended. It's fine. I'm fine.
Maybe, just maybe, if the Democrats didn't feel someone with Machiavellian levels of corruption, they'd see some uptick in their numbers. But they chose Hillary over Bernie and screwed him in the process. Next.
But, there are a lot of people who like to talk about, like, I would love for a female president, just not this one. And I want them to think about if that's really true and be really critical, because we've seen, with Hillary specifically and with so many female candidates, it's that when they're doing the job, their approval ratings are high and people, trust their work and they admire them. And then as soon as they run, as soon as they have the audacity to ask for more responsibility or drive for something higher, people are like, wow, that bitch is really out of place. Like, this is a pattern that we see. And so when people say like, well, I don't like Hillary, but, I would have loved Elizabeth Warren, I'm like, but would you? Or would you say the same thing?
Maybe. You don't know. You just smugly assume that they won't because misogyny.
Like, oh, she's too ambitious, she doesn't know her place. And, that's a question that, we can't answer because that's not what happened. But I don't think that being progressive insulates you from being discriminatory or, like, having unconscious or conscious biases against marginalized groups.
What? How is Hillary a marginalized group? Are you seriously going to sit there and tell people she lost because of marginalization? For real?
We even had this going on within the campaign. People who worked for Hillary Clinton, believed in women and wanted them to succeed and wanted to elect the first female president, would sometimes, interrupt women a lot in meetings, and we'd have to have conversations about, you can work for Hillary Clinton and still be sexist. And, you can still be racist. You know what? I'm a woman and I still have to examine how I think about women and how I treat women and how I think about people of color. There's internalized shit too. You have to just not let your guard down because it's really, really easy to slip into I'm progressive and therefore everything I do is correct, and not make sure that you continue to look at that. Things continue to change.
Look, if you're gonna live your life walking on eggshells and be indecisive because of fear of offending someone, you will never progress. Get it?
There are people who are I see it a lot with comedians and people who write movies and TV that will write really progressive things 10 years ago, and then now they're still making the same kind of content, the same kinds of jokes, and they're like, well, why do people say this is a problem now? Are people getting too PC? It's no, we're just understanding things differently, and you gotta keep up. You've gotta check yourself all the time. You can't just give yourself a pass because you want people to not die not having healthcare.
Wait, what?
What the fuck is that?
How do we jump from comedians not telling jokes to people dying for not having healthcare? Hello? Anyone? Hello?
One of the criticisms of Hillary that I wonder about is that she's not far enough to the left. I remember I made a video about this a long time ago before the primaries. I was supporting Bernie because I thought that he was further to the left than Hillary, and I supported his policies more, and then after that I made a video about why I voted for Hillary. So, but I still see a lot of that going on, that people were just disappointed in how centrist she was. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are on that. Do you think she was good as a centrist candidate? Would you like her to go further left? What are your thoughts?
One thing I will say is that a lot of people who worked for Hillary were further left of Hillary, and to her credit, I think she's an incredible listener, and her policies moved left as the primary ended, and she really wanted to kind of consolidate the party and address everybody's needs, and her team would advise her on things, and she really listened and was able to evolve, and people have all sorts of criticisms of that, but I think it's a positive thing.
See, this is why the left loses. You can't build a house on shaky foundations, and you can't win elections by not sticking to your principles. First she was against gay marriage, now she's for it. First she was against the war in Iraq, then she was for it. Next.
Having worked on the inside of this and seeing how this works, I think there.
I'm gonna speed this up because the jump cuts are just giving me a freaking headache.
Ludicrous speed! Go!
I just have one kind of last final question for you. Do you think having a female president is possible anytime soon? Do you think we could see one in 2020? Is it just not in the cards for us?
Here's one thing that I don't like about a lot of the ways that we view positions of power is that white men are seen as the default in our country, and so they're not representative of their entire gender or their entire race.
White men are seen as the default because they are the majority. And what about white women? Did you just erase all white women? The fuck?
It's different for women, it's different for people of color.
It's different for people of color.
There's so many people that said, you know, after Obama was elected, we're not going to get another black president or another president of color for a long time because how much people reacted poorly to that.
No. People disliked Obama because of his policies. Obamacare, the lack of robust foreign policies, Iran deal, Benghazi, his support for the Muslim Brotherhood. The list goes on. None of this had anything to do with his color. He was just a feckless, lame duck president.
And it's the same thing. We run one female candidate and didn't win, and now there's going to be a lot of people who are really wary of running another female candidate. And so I want so badly to see a woman run in 2020, and I want so badly to see that happen for us soon.
Then why don't you run? Run! Run!
Run, Forrest, run! Run, Forrest!
But I just know that there's this way that we do things where it's like it's gonna take longer than it should because people will take this one woman who ran as representative of all women everywhere and think that they can't win.
Stop assuming. People change their views all the time. And if you field someone who isn't a corrupt megalomaniac like Hillary, maybe you have a shot. I'm skipping the end of this because my headache is now a fully blown migraine. This was cancer. Sheer and utter cancer. I'm the fine print. Peace.